How did one funny label, calling my ex the original and my husband the backup, end with a process server handing me papers at work in front of people who used to clap for me? Why did the man I kept calling too sensitive suddenly become calm, organized, and legally untouchable? My name is Sapphira Colton, but everyone calls me Saffy because it sounds softer. I worked as a marketing coordinator for a dental supply company, which meant I spent my days making boring things look exciting. I was good at it. I knew how to shape a story, how to choose the right angle, how to make people nod even when the truth was messy. That skill did not stay at work. At home, Ethan was the steady one. He woke up early. He packed the kids' snacks with careful hands. He checked the locks twice. He talked about budgets and school calendars, like they were holy texts. Sometimes I watched him and felt like I was stuck inside a slow song I did not choose. I told myself I was not wrong for wanting more noise. That morning, the kitchen smelled like toast and coffee. Ava sat at the table, drawing a cat with huge eyes. Noah pushed cereal around his bowl and made a little mountain. Ethan stood by the sink and looked at his phone, then at me, then back at his phone. He asked why Dylan's name was on my screen last night. I said it was nothing, and he was acting dramatic. He said he only wanted to understand. I said he always wanted to understand, when he really wanted to control. Ethan's face did that thing it always did when he felt insulted, but tried to stay calm. He asked if I could stop calling him controlling. I said I would stop if he stopped being controlling. I heard my own words and still felt proud. In my mind, I was defending myself. In my mind, he was the one creating tension. He said he had a long day and did not want to fight. I said I also had a long day and I did not want to lecture. He asked if we could talk later when the kids were not listening. I said sure, but I already knew I would be too tired later. That was always my plan. On the way to work, I played a playlist Dylan used to send me years ago. I told myself it was nostalgia. I told myself nostalgia was harmless. I told myself Ethan did not own my past. At lunch, I sat with Marina in the break area. She was the kind of coworker who watched people the way other people watched TV. She asked if things were okay at home. I said Ethan had been weird lately. I said he kept asking questions like a detective. I said it was exhausting to be with someone who did not trust me. Marina asked what he was jealous about. I laughed and said he was jealous of my confidence. I said some men could not handle a woman with standards. Marina nodded like I had given her a lesson. That nod felt warm. It felt like proof. She asked if I ever missed the old days. I knew what she meant. I did not say Dylan's name first, but she did. She said he had been your type, right? I said he was my type, yes. I said Ethan was different, and different could be good, but different could also feel like settling. I did not call Ethan my backup out loud then. I saved that for later, like a little spark I planned to drop. In the afternoon, Ethan texted me and asked what time I would be home. I replied that I had a lot to finish. That was true in a way. I had work. I also had plans. The line between those things was thin when I wanted it to be. After work, I went home and changed clothes. Ethan asked where I was going. I said I was meeting friends. He asked who. I said he did not need a list. He asked if Dylan would be there. I said he was being paranoid, and I asked why he wanted to ruin my mood. He said he was not trying to ruin anything. He said he felt disrespected lately. I said he was too sensitive. I said he took everything personally. He asked if I remembered what I said at Brielle's last month, when I joked that I married him because he was safe. I said it was a joke, and he should learn to laugh. That was my favorite move. When something hurt him, I called it a joke. If he kept looking hurt, I called him weak. We drove to the rooftop bar separately. I told myself I needed space. The truth was I liked arriving alone because it looked like freedom. Marina was there with 2 other friends from work. My sister Bree was there too, and she hugged me hard and said I deserved to have fun. She asked where Ethan was. I said he was home being grumpy. Bree rolled her eyes like she knew the whole story. The rooftop was loud in that clean, expensive way. Lights hung like tiny stars. The air smelled like citrus and perfume. Everyone had a phone in their hand at least half the time. When Ethan finally showed up, people greeted him like he was someone's older brother who had been forced to join. He smiled politely. He stood near the edge, not fully inside the circle. I noticed that and felt annoyed, like he was trying to make me look bad by being quiet. Marina asked Ethan if he was having fun. He said yes, and he asked how her week was. Marina laughed and said he was so polite it hurt. Someone else said he acted like a dad at a school meeting. I laughed too. I wanted Ethan to feel small. I told myself it would make him try harder. Bree asked about Dylan like it was casual. I said Dylan was doing well. I said he was the original, and I said it with a smile like it was clever. People laughed. I looked at Ethan and said Ethan was the backup, but I said it like a compliment, like I was praising him for being reliable. Ethan's eyes blinked once, slow. He asked what I meant by that. I said it was just a joke and everyone knew it. I said I was teasing because I felt safe with him. I said he should not make it weird. He asked if I could not say things like that in public. I said he was embarrassing me by acting offended. I said he always picked the wrong moment to have feelings. He said he did not want to argue here. I said then he should stop talking. He went quiet. He stayed for a little while. Then he said he was going home. He asked if I needed a ride. I said no, and I said I could handle myself. He nodded once and left. People watched him go, and for a second the air shifted. Then someone made a joke, and the moment passed. I felt a sharp thrill, like I had won a round. Later, when I got home, the house was dark, except for a small light in the hallway. Ethan was awake. He asked if I had fun. I said yes. He asked if I meant what I said. I said he was still stuck on it, and I said I could not believe he wanted to fight after a night out. He said he did not want to fight. He said he wanted respect. I said respect followed results, and I had results. He asked what that meant. I said it meant I carried the social side of our life, and he should appreciate it. He did not answer. He walked to the bedroom and lay down facing the other way. I stood in the doorway for a moment, waiting for him to call me back, to argue, to chase the feeling I wanted. He did not. In the quiet, I told myself he was doing it on purpose to punish me. I told myself his silence was a tactic. I told myself I was still the one in control. Then, as I turned to leave, I noticed his phone screen light up on the nightstand for a second. A calendar reminder flashed before it went dark again. I only caught a few words, but I saw a place and a time. Downtown, 9:15 a.m. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible stories. The next day, I acted like nothing happened. I made coffee, packed Ava's lunch, and kissed Noah's forehead. I wanted the house to look normal, like a photo. Ethan stayed quiet. He asked if we could talk that evening. I said yes, in the same easy voice I used at work when I promised a client a quick update. I already knew I would not give him a real talk. I would give him fog. At the office, the open plan room buzzed with keyboards and small jokes. I liked the feeling of being seen. I liked the way people looked up when I walked in, like I carried news. Marina waved me over and asked how the bar went. I said Ethan had been strange again. I said he took a harmless joke and turned it into a big issue. I said he always needed me to shrink so he could feel tall. Marina asked if he was the jealous type. I said yes, and I said it was getting worse. I said I could not even have friends without him thinking I was doing something wrong. I did not mention that I was, in fact, doing something wrong. In my mind, my reasons made it different. I told myself I was not cheating. I was correcting a mistake. I told myself I was fixing a life that had become too quiet. Around midday, I checked my phone and saw Dylan had sent a message. He asked if I wanted a walk later, by the river. He said he missed my voice. My chest lifted in a way I did not let Ethan see anymore. I wrote back that I could meet after work. I told myself it was just talking. I told myself talking was not a crime. In the afternoon, Ethan texted again and asked what time I would be home. I replied that I had a lot of tasks and I might be late. That was not fully a lie. I did have tasks. My main task was keeping two worlds from touching. When I left work, I did not go straight home. I drove to the riverside promenade and parked a little away from the main path. I checked my reflection in the mirror and adjusted my hair. I told myself I was doing this for me. I told myself Ethan would not even notice. Dylan arrived with that easy smile, like time never mattered to him. He asked if I was okay. I said I was tired and stressed. He asked if Ethan was still being difficult. I said Ethan did not understand me and never really had. I said I felt alone in my own home. Dylan said he always knew I was meant for more. He said Ethan was safe, but safe was not love. I liked hearing that. I liked the way Dylan made my choices sound like destiny. He asked if I remembered our old apartment and the music we played at night. I said of course. He said he had never found someone like me again. I said I had never fully stopped thinking about him. It felt honest in a sweet way, which made it feel clean. He asked what I wanted. I said I wanted to feel chosen. He said I was always his first choice. That word hit me in the exact place I wanted it to hit. First. Original. I smiled like I had earned something. On the drive home, I rehearsed my story. I told myself I could say I stayed late for work. I told myself Ethan would believe it because he wanted peace. I also told myself that if he did not believe it, that would be his problem. In my world, doubt was a flaw. When I got home, the kitchen lights were on. Ethan stood at the counter with 2 plates. One had food, one was empty. It was a small thing, but it felt like a statement. He asked how my day was. I said it was busy, and my boss had dumped extra tasks on me. He asked if I could sit for a minute. I said I was hungry and tired, and I asked if we could not do this right now. He asked if I had met Dylan. The question was calm, not loud. That calm irritated me more than anger. I said no, and I asked why he kept accusing me. He said he was not accusing, he was asking. I said asking was accusing when the answer was already decided in his head. I said he was acting like my father, and I said I did not marry my father. He rubbed his face and asked why everything had to be a fight. I said he was the one making it a fight. I said I was just living my life and he was building a cage around it. He asked what cage. I said the cage of expectations, the cage of being good, the cage of him watching me like I might fail. Then he said something that surprised me. He said he did not want to watch me. He said he wanted to trust me, but he needed me to stop hurting him in public. He said the backup comment stayed in his head. He asked if I understood what it did to him. I said he was overreacting. I said I was allowed to joke. I said if he had more confidence, it would not bother him. I said I could not carry both my feelings and his feelings. He asked if I cared about his feelings at all. I said of course I did, and I said that was why I wanted him to relax. I acted like my cruelty was care. Ava walked in and asked if we were mad again. Ethan told her we were just talking. I told her we were fine and she should go brush her teeth. She looked at Ethan like she wanted a better answer. Ethan nodded at her and told her he would come read soon. My stomach tightened because his calm with the kids made me look like the storm. Later, Ethan said he needed to run to the supermarket for milk and fruit for the kids. I said I could go. He said he would handle it. The words were plain, but I heard distance in them. When he left, I felt both free and offended. I wanted him to chase me, but I also wanted him to stop asking questions. I wanted 2 opposite things and called it balance. When he came back, he put the groceries away slowly. A long receipt lay on the counter. He did not crumple it like he used to. He smoothed it flat, almost careful. I asked why he was keeping it. He said he liked to track spending. I said that sounded obsessive. He said it was just responsible. That night, when I passed the hallway, I heard a soft beep from his phone, like an app starting and stopping. I paused near the guest room door. Ethan was inside, and the light under the door was thin. I heard a drawer close with a small click. My skin prickled. I told myself he was being secretive. I told myself he was the one with the problem. In bed, Dylan sent another message and asked if I was safe. I stared at the word safe and felt almost angry at it. Ethan was safe. Safety was not the same as being wanted. I typed back that I was fine, and I added a small heart because it made me feel brave. Ethan lay down beside me but faced away again. He did not ask for my phone. He did not ask where I had been. He did not touch me. The quiet felt like a door closing, not loudly but firmly. I told myself he was trying to punish me with silence. Still, I could not sleep, because part of me wondered what he was doing with those receipts, that drawer, and those calm questions that did not need my permission. The week moved fast after the river walk, like my life had a second engine. I woke up with a small rush in my chest, the kind I used to feel in college before a party. Ethan woke up the same way he always did, steady and plain. He asked if we could talk again, and I said we could, but I said it like a manager setting a meeting I planned to cancel. On Thursday, we had a community fundraiser at the local hall. It was for the school, and the room was full of folding chairs, raffle baskets, and parents who liked to pretend they were friends. I wore a dress that made me feel sharp. Ethan wore a clean button-down and looked like he belonged there more than I did. In the car, he asked if we could just get through the night without jokes about our marriage. I said I could not promise that because I was not a robot. He said he was not asking for perfect, only respect. I said respect was earned, and I was tired of earning everything alone. At the hall, people greeted me with loud smiles. People greeted Ethan with polite smiles. I noticed that difference and decided it was his fault. Marina was there too, even though it was not her school, because she loved any place with a crowd. She asked if Ethan was behaving. I said he had been cold and strange, like he wanted me to feel guilty for being happy. Ethan stayed near the raffle table and helped an older woman carry boxes. Someone asked him to take a photo of their family. He did it without complaining. That made me mad in a quiet way. His calm looked good in public, and I wanted him to look bad. When a group gathered near the snack table, someone asked how long Ethan and I had been together. I answered before he could. I said we had a solid life, and I said solid could be heavy. I said some people were original love, and some people were backup love, and I laughed like it was comedy. A couple people laughed too. A phone lifted, just for a second, like someone was deciding if it was worth recording. Ethan heard it. He looked at me, and his face stayed flat. He asked if I wanted to step aside for a minute. I said no, because stepping aside would mean I cared. I said he could stop being sensitive. He said he was not sensitive, he was serious. I said serious was the problem. Later, when Ava ran up with a cupcake, Ethan wiped frosting off her cheek with his thumb. Ava asked why we were talking so loudly earlier. Ethan said we were fine and we were just tired. I told Ava that Dad worried too much and she should not copy him. Ethan did not correct me. He only said he would take the kids home early if they got sleepy. On Friday, I went to the gym after work. I told Ethan I needed me time. He said okay, and he asked what time I would be back for bedtime. I said I would try. The word try gave me an exit. At the gym lobby, I pretended not to look around, but I did. Dylan came in 5 minutes later, like it was an accident. He asked if I was doing okay. I said Ethan was being distant, and it felt like punishment. Dylan said Ethan was trying to control me with silence. I liked that idea because it made me the victim again. Dylan asked if I wanted a quick selfie. I said sure, like it was harmless. I posted it with a caption about old friends and good energy. I did not write his name. That felt like a trick that made it okay. In my head, hiding the name was the same as respecting my marriage. When I got home, Ethan was in the kitchen again. The kids' plates were already washed. 2 mugs sat on opposite sides of the counter, like a line in the middle. He asked how the gym was. I said it was fine and I needed it for my mental health. He asked if Dylan was there. I said he was accusing me again. He said he was asking again. I said the difference did not matter because the feeling was the same. He asked if I understood that public posts stayed public. I said he was acting like a lawyer, and I asked if he was planning to sue my happiness. He did not answer that. He only said he wanted us to stop posting private issues online. That night, I went to a friend's apartment gathering. It was loud and warm and crowded, with people standing too close and talking over each other. Marina was there, and Bree was there too. Bree asked if Ethan had learned his place. I laughed, because laughing made Bree happy, and Bree being happy made me feel supported. Someone put on music. Someone poured drinks. A group started telling relationship stories, the kind where you pick a villain and everyone claps when you say you left. I told my story the way I liked it. I said Ethan was safe but not exciting. I said I missed being chosen first. I said Dylan understood me in a way Ethan never did. I did not say I was cheating. I made it sound like I was trapped. Ethan showed up near the end, because Bree had invited him without telling me. He stood by the door and asked if we could leave soon. I said he was ruining the vibe. He asked if we could talk outside. I said he always wanted to talk when I wanted to breathe. He asked if I had been drinking. I said I was fine. He asked if I could stop making our marriage a joke in rooms full of strangers. I said if he did not want to be joked about, he should stop giving me reasons. He asked what reasons. I said his weakness, his silence, his neediness. He did not raise his voice. He said he would go home and take care of the kids, and he said I could come back whenever I was ready to be respectful. I told him he was trying to control me again. He said he was setting a boundary. When I came home later, the guest room door was closed. I heard a soft beep from inside, like a recording app starting and stopping. I stood there for a second, then walked away as if I did not care. In bed, I told myself Ethan was the one changing. Ethan was the one playing games. But I could not ignore one new detail. On the kitchen counter, beside the mail, there was a neat folder with a simple label. Household. It was turned face down, like it was none of my business. That made my stomach feel tight, even though I told myself I had nothing to worry about. The next morning, I acted like the folder did not exist. I made pancakes for the kids and talked too loudly about weekend plans. I wanted the air to feel normal again. Ethan walked in and poured coffee without looking at me. He asked if I could stop posting about Dylan for a while. I said he was trying to control my friendships. He said he was asking for privacy. I said privacy was what people asked for when they had nothing to offer. After breakfast, Ethan packed Ava's backpack and checked her homework sheet. He asked if I could do school pickup that day because he had a meeting. I said sure, but I watched his phone when he said meeting. A reminder flashed on his screen again, the kind that only showed a place and time. I pretended I did not see it. I told myself it was work. I also told myself he was hiding something, because I needed him to be guilty too. At the office, I tried to focus, but my mind kept returning to the folder. I sent Dylan a quick message and asked if we were still on for the weekend. He replied fast and said yes, and he added that he missed me. That made me feel chosen again. It also made me feel safe in my own story. In my story, Ethan had pushed me away. In my story, I was only taking back what I deserved. That afternoon, I sat in the school pickup line and watched other parents in their cars. I saw Ethan's car ahead of me, which surprised me. He was not supposed to be there. He did not look back. He just stared forward, hands on the wheel, calm like a statue. When Ava got in, she asked why Dad was there too. I said he probably forgot something. Ava said Dad looked sad. I told her Dad was just tired and he worried too much. She asked if Dad still loved me. I said of course he did, and I said adults just had stress. My voice sounded confident, but my stomach felt tight. At home, Ethan was already in the kitchen. He asked if Ava had homework. I said yes, and I said I would help later. He nodded and started making dinner. I noticed he had made a simple schedule on a sticky note. Baths, reading, lights out. It was taped to the fridge like he was running a small clinic. I said he was being dramatic. He said he was being consistent for the kids. I said he was trying to make me look irresponsible. He said he was not trying to make me look like anything. He said he was trying to keep the house stable. That word, stable, annoyed me. It sounded like he was preparing to build a fence around me. That night, we had a family dinner at a restaurant with a long table. My parents came, Bree came, and Ethan's parents came. The table was too long to feel close, but close enough to feel trapped. The kids got crayons. The adults got tension. My mum, Linda, asked if Ethan was still being cold. I said yes, and I said it felt like emotional punishment. Ethan's mother, Ruth, asked what I meant by cold. I said he ignored me and acted like I was not there. Ethan's father, Greg, asked if I thought my public jokes were respectful. I said people were too sensitive these days. Ethan asked if we could not do this in front of the kids. I said I was not the one who started it. My dad, Tom, looked at me with that tired face he used when I was a teenager. He asked if I was being honest with myself. I said I was honest, and I said I was finally speaking my truth. Bree jumped in and said I deserved to feel alive. Ruth said the children deserved peace. Linda said I was not a prisoner. Greg said nobody said prisoner, and he asked why I kept using extreme words. I said because that was how it felt. Ethan stayed calm. He asked the waiter for another water. He cut Noah's food into smaller pieces. He wiped Ava's hands with a napkin. The more calm he was, the more I wanted to push because his calm made me look like the problem. Tom asked if Dylan was involved. I said Dylan was just a friend. Greg asked why a friend needed selfies and long walks. I said they were making assumptions. I said Ethan filled their heads with poison. Ethan said he had not spoken about Dylan to anyone at the table. I said his silence spoke for him. After dinner in the parking lot, Ethan asked if I could stop using the kids as a shield. I said I was not using them. He asked why I brought up prisoner and punishment in front of them. I said because it was true. He said feelings were not facts. I said that sounded like a line from a robot. At home, the kids went to bed late. Ava asked if we were getting divorced. Ethan told her adults were working on things and she did not need to carry it. I told her we were fine and Dad was just stressed. Ethan looked at me then, and his eyes were tired. When the kids were asleep, I walked into the kitchen and finally looked at the folder again. It was still face down. I flipped it over like I had the right. Inside, I only saw normal things: copies of bills, a list of utilities, notes about due dates. Nothing dramatic. Still, the neatness scared me. It was like he had cleaned the chaos out of his life and put it in a box. Ethan came in and saw me holding it. He asked why I was going through his things. I said it was our house and I could look. He said the folder was just organization. I said he was acting like he did not trust me. He said he was acting like someone who needed clarity. I asked what else he was organizing. He said he was organizing his mind. I laughed and said he was being theatrical. He did not laugh. He walked past me toward the hallway. I followed him to the bedroom doorway. He opened the closet and took out a few shirts, then stopped. He asked if I noticed how the kids reacted when we fought. I said kids were resilient. He said they were small, not stupid. I said he was trying to guilt me. He said he was trying to protect them. Then I heard it again, a faint hum from somewhere in the house, like a shredder running for a second and stopping. I froze without meaning to. Ethan did not react. He simply shut the closet door and said he was going to sleep in the guest room again because he needed peace. I wanted to call him cruel. I wanted to call him dramatic. Instead, I told myself he was doing it to punish me. I told myself I was still the main character and he was just playing a side role. But when I walked back to the kitchen, I saw something new on the counter beside the folder, a small USB labeled with a date, placed so neatly it looked like it had been measured. I stared at the USB like it was a threat, even though it was just a small piece of plastic. The label had a date written in neat ink. I told myself it could be anything: family photos, work files, a backup of his boring spreadsheets. Still, my throat felt tight. Ethan did not leave things around by accident. Ethan did not do anything by accident anymore. The next day, I tried to act normal again. I made the kids breakfast. I asked Ava about school. I pretended Noah's spilled juice was the biggest problem in my world. Ethan moved through the kitchen like a guest who knew the rules. He washed his mug and put it on his side of the counter. He checked his phone and set it face down. He did not ask me where I was going, and that bothered me more than his questions ever did. I wanted him to chase me. I wanted him to prove he cared. I also wanted him to stop making me feel watched. I wanted both, and I called it fair. At work, Marina asked why I looked tired. I said Ethan had been doing that cold silence thing again. I said he acted like I had ruined his life over a joke. Marina said men loved being the victim. I nodded like I agreed with the truth, not an excuse. Bree sent me a message that afternoon and asked if I was coming out Friday night. She said we needed a reset, and she used a laughing emoji like it could fix anything. I said yes. I told myself going out would put me back in control. I told myself Ethan would see I was still wanted. I told myself he would stop acting like he could step away from me without consequences. I also messaged Dylan. I asked if he could meet us later. He replied fast and said he would come. He wrote that I deserved to be treated like the first choice. That word first made my chest warm and mean at the same time. On Friday, Ethan came home early. The kids ran to him like they always did. He asked Ava about her day. He lifted Noah and spun him once, slow and careful, then put him down. He asked me what time I would be back tonight. I said I was going out with Bree and some friends. He asked if Dylan would be there. I said he was obsessed with Dylan, and I asked why he could not focus on us. He said he was focusing on the kids and the house, and he said he hoped I would do the same. I laughed and said he was talking like a therapist. He asked if I could not post about the night. I said he could not control my phone. He said he was not trying to control me. He said he was asking for privacy. I put on a dress and checked myself in the mirror. I told myself I looked strong. I told myself strong women did not ask permission. I told myself Ethan was threatened by strength, and that was his weakness, not my problem. At the rooftop bar, the air was loud again and full of small lights. Bree hugged me and asked if I felt free yet. I said I felt better when I was not being judged. Marina brought me a drink and said Ethan must be at home, counting receipts. Everyone laughed, and I laughed too, because laughter made me feel safe. I posted a story on my phone before we even sat down. I wrote something about original energy and added a laughing face. I did not write names. I told myself that made it harmless. Dylan arrived a little later and acted like he belonged there. He asked how I was holding up. I said Ethan was being cold and weird. Dylan said Ethan was trying to make me feel guilty. I said guilt was a tool men used to keep women small. Bree asked Dylan if he was still in love with me. Dylan said something smooth, and Bree squealed like we were in a movie. I felt my cheeks warm. I liked the attention. I liked that people looked at me like I had options. Then I saw Ethan. He was not at our table. He stood by the entrance, near the host stand, like someone waiting for a ride. He was not dressed for a bar. He looked like he had come straight from home. For a second I felt a flash of anger, like he had invaded my space. Then I felt a flash of fear, because he did not look desperate. He looked calm. He walked over and asked if we could talk outside for a minute. His voice and face stayed controlled. Bree rolled her eyes and said he was doing it again. Marina smirked and watched like it was entertainment. I followed Ethan a few steps away, still inside the place but out of the main crowd. He asked if I understood what I was doing. He asked why I kept making our marriage a public joke. He asked why Dylan was always around, always in photos, always in my stories. I said he was embarrassing me. I said he was acting jealous in front of people. I said he should stop trying to control me with this sad husband act. He said he was not acting. He said he was trying to keep things calm, especially for the kids. I said he was using the kids as a weapon. He said he was not using them. He said he was protecting them from chaos. I told him he was overreacting and he should just trust me. He asked what trust was supposed to be built on. I said marriage was built on faith, not tracking. He said he was not tracking me. He said he was noticing patterns. That word patterns hit me like a cold splash. I told myself he was bluffing. I told myself he was trying to scare me into behaving. I told myself I was not scared. I went back to the table and made a joke about Ethan needing a bedtime. People laughed, but the laughter sounded thinner this time. Dylan leaned close and asked if Ethan was going to try something. I said Ethan would never do anything. I said he was too passive. When I got home later, the house was quiet. Ethan sat at the kitchen table with a glass of water. He did not shout. He did not ask where I had been. He asked if I was sober enough to talk. I said he was treating me like a child. He said he was treating the situation seriously. He asked if I could agree to basic rules. No posting the kids online. No posting about our marriage. No bringing Dylan around them. I said he was making demands like a dictator. He said he was asking for safety and stability. I said stability was just another word for boredom. He looked at me for a long moment like he was watching a storm pass without stepping into the rain. Then he said he would not argue with me anymore. He said he was going to handle things properly from now on. I laughed and asked what properly meant. He did not explain. He only repeated that he would handle it properly, and he said it without anger, like a decision had already been made. In that calm, I felt something shift. I wanted to call him cruel. I wanted to push him into yelling so I could point at it and say, "See, he is the villain." But he stayed lawful and quiet and solid, and my tricks slid off him like water. When I went to bed, I checked my phone and saw Dylan had sent a message asking if I was okay. I typed back that everything was fine, but my hands were not steady. In the dark, I realized Ethan was not trying to win a fight anymore. He was trying to end the game.